Justin and Jody talking Boomerang for parents. Not the boomerang looping video that you find on Instagram. It's the one that looks like the boomerang.
Yeah.
And you and I, when we first met, of course, through horror stories of kids addicted to social media and media in general, digital, screen time, games, gaming.
The list goes on.
It's one of those things that, I sit around with my group of mom and dad friends, and everybody's like, we are in serious trouble. Like, there's no answer to this problem. And really there is. And it's something that you and your team have created in the Boomerang app. The brief synopsis of what this app brings to parents is what?
Well, it's pretty much awareness of what's going on your child's device in an automated way, and I like to say not too intrusive on the child. I mean, there's going to be a behavior adjustment when you install an app like this, but do it early, and it's just part of having a smartphone, and that's very important.
So as a mom of a 10-year-old, 10 going on 14 in his head, loves his screen time, I downloaded the Boomerang app, and one of the reasons I'm doing this is because it's working for us. It's working for us in such an incredible way. It's simple. It's authentic in that I actually told my son the day I downloaded it, I sat him down and said, here's what I'm doing and why.
Yeah,
and it's not, I want to control your world, and I do trust you, but I want to know what's happening with you online. And he understood it right away. He was a little bit, at first, but I didn't realize that my favorite thing would be the daily reports. And I got one the next morning. In my inbox, in my email, and it literally says, here are the apps that were downloaded, here's how much time was spent on each app, here's basically your child's online footprint.
Yeah, and that's, smartphones provide a kind of, or introduce a dark hole when they're introduced to children without this information. And most parents, they're just not up to date on what's happening, the type of apps the kids are using, the type of games they're downloading.
Like 99% of parents.
Right, and part of it is that there's no family sharing or built-in kind of information that either Google or Apple are providing you as reports. So we provide this daily report, as you mentioned, where, hey, here's how much time your child used Snapchat for, or Instagram, or this game. And you know exactly how much time they spent against their screen time limit, which you can set as well.
Which is also so powerful, and yet it's not a big deal. It sounds like, oh gosh, my child will never be cool with me timing out their screen time. It's like, well, yeah, all of a sudden they are actually. When you say, listen, I'm paying for your device, I'm paying for you to be able to use it, Wi-Fi, and therefore I will be in charge of it. So it's that one difficult conversation that leads to really a much kinder exchange between parent and tween. My suggestion is that you get on this as soon as possible. Once a teenager is far enough down that black hole.
It's difficult to introduce at that point because you've built the behavior and you have to undo that behavior.
It's a punishment then.
Yeah.
This is more training. Now, you mentioned the black hole. I mean, so many parents, my son really started to enjoy YouTube, I think about 2 years ago.
It's the new TV for kids now, right?
Yeah. It's TV for many people. But with Boomerang for Parents, there's also the Spin browser control. Talk a little bit about Spin.
I'll talk about Spin. So Boomerang we've talked about, that's the parental control side where it locks things down, schedules screen time, etc. Spin is actually another big bucket we don't talk enough about. And that's the browser that's on all devices. They're not filtered. So that allows for any type of content to be seen on, say, Google searches as an example. And that's
or YouTube that takes you down this crazy,
yeah.
You think they're just watching cartoons, and the next thing you know, they're watching very inappropriate cartoons.
So our Spin browser is actually a separate app. It can also be used by itself. Oh. So it doesn't need Boomerang to work. So that's the beautiful part about it.
Good to know.
It's also free. But the catch with the Spin part is that we also filter millions of websites on top of making the searches via Google safer. So that helps, in case an accidental link is clicked on or what have you, which happens. That's usually how kids get in trouble, is they innocent tap on something, and it goes to a bad website. And before you know it, they're seeing pornography as an example, which is probably the biggest thing that kids can get into by accident now, via a browser.
Brett, I remember, older brother, it wasn't online, but just having to be around those who may be consuming something like that put me in a position of seeing, for me it was violence too soon, because I had no business watching Halloween or Friday the 13th when I did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if we can protect our kids from going that deep, because eventually
we're kind of delaying it, right?
Yes.
I mean, at the same time, we have, I think, a society of trying to protect kids against everything. We don't want there needs to be scratch. Well, that's part of life.
Yeah.
But there's some parts we can delay. We have controls. There's some technologies that can help with it now. So.
And going back to, we've talked about this in other videos here on the website, the fact that when you are putting the controls on and you're limiting screen time to maybe an hour during the week and 2 hours on weekends, you can add or allow apps that don't apply to screen time, which gives incentive for kids to maybe use some apps that aren't first-person shooter games or rooted in violence, even if it's the zombie apocalypse. That's the argument I get. They're not people, Mom. They're zombies. I'm like, you're still shooting at them. But kids will be kids. I mean, you can keep kids from having a Nerf gun. They're going to pick up a stick and play with it like that because that's just what happens. So maybe giving them a little as opposed to going zero tolerance.
There has to be a balance, and I always like to take a balanced approach with this. It's not one of those like hard lines, though our app can go very restrictive if you wanted to.
Right.
And that's the flexibility we do provide, is that you can be very liberal and more just like monitoring,
that's
not
me.
too many limits, and that's, you know, there's a lot of people that are in this bucket, and there's people that want to see everything, monitor everything, maybe only a half hour screen time per day.
Right.
Each their own. That's the beautiful thing about what we're doing here, is we're allowing kind of a flexibility from different types of parent styles, which is very important.
So that brings me to, there are other sort of restrictive apps or parenting apps out there. What sets Boomerang for Parents apart from some of the, what, isn't Facebook doing one now where you can time yourself?
Well, a lot of these, they call it time well spent. I think it's the theme that's going on right now.
Yeah.
And like Instagram, Facebook have created these little mini dashboards inside their app to say, here's how much time you spent on Instagram.
But aren't we addicted to Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, they want you to be inside the app. So to me, you know, having it inside an app makes a little bit less sense than having a device-wide app like Boomerang.
I found that, and I'm not tech savvy, as you know. I'm good at pushing buttons on a radio, but in terms of actually, you know, downloading things onto a device and making other devices work with my device, I was a little bit freaked out to download the Boomerang for Parents app. And then it was very simple to download. The free trial was free. 14 days, and within, 2 days, I think, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It didn't take long, yeah.
It didn't take long because it is so user-friendly, and we've had to change some of the devices, and that's easy to do. It just adds, as long as you download it onto that device, and as long as you got your email and your password.
Yeah, so your group, you're pairing with a group, which is your email and password, so that's pretty straightforward to do. You don't have to create like a special username.
No.
We don't remember in 6 months when you use it again. That's always frustrating. Everybody remembers their email. So we use an email in the password you create. And its information is only stored on our servers and is only accessible by you. So nobody else can get in there and see what your kid's doing.
I really love location services as well. It's on a map, refresh, that's where your iPad is, or that's where your Samsung is right now. And I've actually used it when my son's at camp, because on Wednesdays and Fridays, they get an hour screen time at camp at the end of the day, and oftentimes they're on a field trip.
Right.
And I don't know when they're back. And I'll go on my Boomerang Parents app, open it up, refresh, and I'm like, oh, he's back. Okay, I'll go pick him up. So it's good for parents.
Absolutely.
All right, Justin and Jody, Boomerang for Parents app. Get more information on the website.